I'm going to take this Maxis made trailer park from ick to sick, give you cheats that you can use to amp up any of your Sims builds. Notice this loading screen. We are coming back into the game because before you build, you're going to need to change the lot zoning from an apartment to a residential lot. That way we can actually do some real building on it. The cheat is on your screen, and I'm going to put all of this information in my description down below for quick reference. Take a look at this middle trailer that I have totally butchered the demolishing of, which is okay because we're getting rid of it. What I want to do here is place a pool because I think that is something, as we are thinking about what we want to do with this build, would make this area nice because we're taking this from a trashy trailer park to a nice modular home build. The next thing I want to think about is making it functional for my gameplay. I don't like when my Sims are creating a meal for their family and then serve everybody in the trailer park. So we're getting rid of that. Next, I'm taking the trim off the top of each of these buildings. While I love a simple flat roof, that is a tip or trick you can use at any time. When I looked at pictures of mobile home parks, most of them had pitched roofs. Now the pitch was not very steep, and you'll see me mess with that in a little bit. Each of them did have a pitched roof on them. I also was thinking, when I'm a builder in this game, there's a couple of things I think about. The first thing is I'm a Sims player first and foremost. I don't want routing issues. I want these areas to be functional for my gameplay. And number two, I think of this as I am the investor or I'm the builder, and how would I want to maybe buy this trailer park and have it make money? I wouldn't want to be putting so much money into this that I couldn't get a return on my investment. So how would I be upgrading this park to my best advantage? So that's what I'm thinking here. You're going to see me mess around with maybe moving the walls and things around, like I get rid of the closet. I was going to move the bathroom, and then I decided no. What this really needs is an upgrade of color to each one of these, just to kind of freshen it up. And we're not going to do anything really crazy. We're just going to change the colors because really color helps create the idea of freshness in a home. We're going to update all of the colors in each one of these trailer parks. And then we're going to move on, and we are going to create beautiful planters in each one of the fronts of the trailer park. So beautiful, fresh plantings and that sort of thing. And that's just going to create this lovely, tropical, beautiful vibe. Because I was also thinking, I've been in Florida and I love how the trailer parks you can buy or rent there, and they're just so warm and inviting, and they're also kind of vibrantly colored, and I just love that. So that's what I was going for in here. Now I'm kind of catching on with that idea, and you're going to just see me update the colors starting here. And I don't go crazy changing the furniture. It was just, I was thinking, let's update the colors. I don't use any custom content in this build because I want to package this lot, and I'm going to work on a place where we can put these lots that you can download them for your gameplay. So look for that in the future. And I kind of like how this particular lot turned out. It's a little bit darker. And then we come over to Jessica Peterson, I think is what her name is. She lives in this particular Pepto-Bismol looking trailer. And her story is she left kind of the richest guy in town and moved into this trailer. And I'm like, okay, we're going to keep this kind of pink, but how can we offset this? And I'm thinking blue and pink, because again, I want to kind of keep more of that tropical maybe vibe. I don't know what I was really thinking here, but I did want to tone down the pink a little bit. And I think pink and blue and green looks very pretty when you're dealing with pastels. So you're going to see me kind of play with those color vibes on this. All of you actually have the original trailer park in your games. This was built in the Legacy Edition. You can go into Belladonna Cove, and this trailer park is there, and Jessica Peterson lives in this particular trailer. Unfortunately, you do have to play in it with the Pepto-Bismol pink, but you see you can quickly change the colors on it. And I think it looks really adorable in the blue and white. And it just gives it just a nice overall, I don't know, vibe when it's not quite so pink. And I think that just helped it to look fresh and lovely. And now this one, when my daughter saw this, she's like, what were we doing in the 90s? Yeah, this trailer was a mess. So I decided let's make this kind of the oldest trailer in the trailer park, but I still put in like the bright yellow style floor. I wanted it to be cozy even though it was the older style trailer. And you're going to see me messing around with colors for this one. And I went crazy and I'm like, maybe it's even a little bit older. And we're going to go with paneling because there's paneling in the closets. I went first with old dark paneling, but I thought, no, we're trying to keep this bright and cozy. So I did go with lighter paneling, but I just kind of toned down then some of the other colors. You'll see me mess with the colors in the kitchen because those kitchen colors have to go. I do not know what was going on with Maxis when they decorated this. I've been in some terrible looking apartments in my day, especially in New York. And even there, and I mean literally, I had a bright pink bathroom in New York. It was not as bad as the kitchen in that particular building. I do keep the black on this trailer, but I change kind of the basic color. I think this one was one that just looked a little bit more warm, if that makes sense. Can black be more warm? I don't know. To me, it did. Just work with it. Sometimes, who knows? My brain is like, squirrel. When I came to the last trailer, I was thinking the kitchen needed work. Maybe all the kitchens needed work. I don't know. But this kitchen was too little for me. So I decided to go with a basic U-style kitchen and ended up loving how it looked with the sink looking out the window. I like when sinks look out the window. I did not like that it had the double entry for the bathroom. So I got rid of one of the doors going into the bathroom. And then I made all of the walls for the main apartment trailer, yellow. And I absolutely decided I love that. So this ended up becoming the yellow trailer. And you'll see that going forward, the yellow with the green front just sets this trailer off wonderfully. And I was thinking in my head, this just kind of became the happy bumblebee trailer for me. I did start with black windows on this. And again, that was kind of that bumblebee coloring. But because the trailer next to it had black, I ended up going with white and loved it. Once we get through with this, I believe I move to the planters. So what I wanted to do was I kind of like the idea of your Sims maybe being able to do some gardening in this trailer because, okay, I'm thinking of Florida and sometimes you want to have some elders in that area, and my elders always like to garden, even the ones that I don't put in old age homes and make them work to death. Yes, that is a thing I do. Go to my Twisted Old Age Home video if you want to know more about that. But all my elders like to garden, and I think that's because growing up, my grandparents loved to garden. In fact, they had such huge gardens, they would have me gardening days and nights on my weekends. It was terrible. We used to call it dog poop weekend because, yeah, it was just a mess. So I put the gardens here and I put some fruit trees in case they wanted to do a little tiny bit of gardening. You don't have to, of course. And set that all up. And I kept all my flamingos. My daughter loved that I kept the flamingos. While I use all 4 seasons in this area, I was kind of thinking of Florida as I was building this. And I definitely wanted a pool. I was like, this is a little bit more upscale than the original trailer park. And my people were going to have a pool. And I was not giving up on that. You know, it's not anything to write home about, but we were going to have a place for them to lay out around the pool, relax. And again, I was thinking This would be fun if you had like maybe a retirement community here or some elderly people here. You could also quickly change this if you threw in change lot zoning to hotel and have this an old hotel area, but you would have to change the doors as well. So I decided I mostly see this type of mobile home park with a fence around it, and I like to do the retro fence. So I thought that that worked. It was just cute and cozy. So we're going to surround the front with an open fence to the street, and then the back, obviously, a closed privacy fence. We want our privacy around our trailer park. And I thought that just kind of seemed to be what I've seen in the past. I had done another trailer park that you don't get to see where my daughter joked that it was the drug dealer park, that it was a chain link fence and it was not very cozy. I don't know, maybe I'll release that one as well. But that had a lot of custom content to it. That had chain link fence and it was not very welcoming. Whereas this is cute. Look how nice this turned out with the cute little yellow fence. So plants. So we're going to type in Shift Control C. It opens the bar at the top and move objects. And this way now I can layer my plants out in the front. And I love this trick. This creates an overlapping warm vibe. And again, functionality is the key here. So when I'm putting the flowers, I'm making sure the little point, if you know The Sims 2, is to the front. This way, either the homeowner or the landlord can come in and deal with these plants, because in The Sims 2, there was plant care. You could not just have all these plants and think you're going to get away with doing nothing. They needed to be trimmed. The flowers needed to be watered. So every plant that I stick in here needs to have something done to it. You see me, I'm kind of going around. I was going to put some extra plants that kind of look like uh, grass growth in there. And then I decided, no, that might not be a good idea. So I moved over to the white building to your left and put the sunflowers. And then we decay into madness. I turned my attention to the large bush up in the front, and what I wanted to do was something a little bit different. So you can turn the grid movement off in The Sims 2 when you're placing things, and what I wanted to do was put grass or something underneath of it. And of course I put the cheat in to turn the grid off for this, but what I didn't count on was then of course I'm going to want to put the little fencing that I've been putting around each one of the flower bushes, I'm sorry, flower beds underneath of it. Well, that does not work off the grid, which you're going to see me struggle with right here. If somebody knows of a way to do that off the grid, please put it in the comments down below, because I'm doing it on the grid, I'm doing off the grid, then I'm like, well, maybe I should just try it. And I spend all of this time because I really wanted to do something a little different. And then I was thinking, well, I could do overlapping. And no, it just didn't work. And eventually I decide that I'm just going to throw this plant off to the side after I go through a ton of throwing bushes underneath it and that sort of thing. And there is some bamboo back by, as you're going back, you see me grab it right here. And I'm going to make it look overgrown behind the trailer. And I'm going to surround it with flowers. And then we're just going to do a flower bed, sort of like what I did around the other ones. I don't know why sometimes, I don't know if any of the rest of you build or decorate in your Sims that, and you see me turning the grid back on because I wanted to make this a little planter box. But I don't know if you ever get like this, that you get crazy and then you just can't stop. What you're seeing happen here is, even though I had moved objects on, I had to move that plant out of the planter box, finish with my planter, and then move it right back in. And that's something, if you're ever having trouble with, that's a quick tip. So because I want that overgrown style here in our modular home park, I want it to look as if these places have been here and these plantings have been here. I go to the back where the tree is, and I'm planting around that as well. I am looking, of course, for some extra flowers to put in here, and I find this one, and I like that it has the ivy And even though you're going to see me mess around with different colors back here, I like that it looks like the ivy is crawling up the wall. And like I said, I did not want to use any custom plants because I did want to package this so that when I figure out where I'm going to stick these, if you guys ever wanted to download it. So I'm not going to mess around with custom plants either. As I move over to the old trailer, the dark trailer build, I'm thinking I love black and yellow. And so I'm putting my little sunflowers over here. This ends up, I should just call this sunflower trailer park because there ends up being a lot of sunflowers in it. And so I'm putting some flowers, but I decided I want it to be a little bit more overgrown because I decide I am not going to make a huge flower bed here because one of my things here with my Sims is routing. And we're going to talk about that more as we come up the side. And I feel as we get up in this area, routing could become an issue because we've got this pool diving board here. I have the chairs here and I have an entryway from the, what's it called? The gates. Well, I don't know, the fence. There's no gates technically. Oh, you're going to see me do something kind of funny here. I'm lining the pool just because I think that'll make the pool stand out. And it's saying you can't because it's intersecting an object. So I have to do the same thing I did with the bush. I move the swings. You can finish drawing it. I do have move objects on, and then I'm able to put the swings back. So that's, again, it was the same issue that we had with the bush just a second ago. Here goes my flamingo. My daughter loved that I kept all the flamingos in the park. We move back over to this side, and I am thinking of routing because I want my Sims to be able to move around. I do not like when I'm in the middle of gameplay and everybody's stuck and everybody's screaming and who's wetting themselves. I want this to function if I'm going to use it. What I do is I'm thinking, all right, I also like the idea of some of these bushes in front of the doors because it kind of gives you a little bit of privacy. Even though this does not work like a deck, you cannot put chairs and that sort of thing up there. It's kind of cute. It kind of gives you that idea that it's a private area that your Sims have. You know, you're not like peeping in the windows as you're sitting at the pool or as you're walking around outside. And I like that. And as you're walking around here, that it does give you that overgrown feeling. I have closed off the fence. And the reason is because I kept thinking, if I keep that flower bed that big, I do see routing issues in my future. This was not play tested at this point, and I do intend to put it in one of my towns and play test it. Here I was going through, I felt it needed to be a little bit more overgrown. And you see me kind of going through, oh, do I want this? Do I want that? And again, I wanted no custom content at all. It all had to be directly from The Sims 2. And like I said before, this was actually built in the Legacy Edition. I have several editions of The Sims 2, but I wanted it to show you all that for many people who are just getting The Sims 2 because of the Legacy, you could play this in your Sims 2. My daughter has had this game since she was 14 years old, and she did not know until today when she was watching my video that she could color the sunflowers. We come back around to the back. We're getting close to the end here, and I'm going to throw a bunch of sunflowers around the tree. Again, I don't know if they'll be here or not. When I play test it, we'll see if you could still garden. But I thought it looked cute being all overgrown, and there's something that is to be said about when you add all of the extra plants and bushes. As we come back around to the front, you're going to kind of get a view of what it looks like. And we're going to put the change lot zoning back to apartments so that you can play this as an apartment. You do have to save it and go back out and come in. I want to thank you all so much for watching. If you're liking my content, please take a moment to like and subscribe and tell me in the comments down below if you've done anything with these trailers. I can't wait to hear about it. Happy simming and bye-bye.